Hello, welcome to Robo Dojo anywhere, anytime. I'm your librarian, Dan Lo. Yay, we are at episode 5. Exciting. So in today's episode, we are going to learn how to make a dance box. I'll just teach you how to make the dabbing pose as in the intro of the video. Let's open Choreograph. Okay. Okay, so make sure the box library is open up. If not, you know where to go. Go to the View menu and make sure there's a checkbox in front of Box Libraries. And make sure your tab is on Box Libraries. Okay, let's click on Search. I search for a box called Timeline. Drag it in. Okay. We'll first do the dabbing dance box. Don't worry about the overall project layout at this moment. I'll show you, once we made the box, how we are going to combine the new box with the previous guessing number game. Alright, next, let's double click and go inside the timeline box. Now, once you click into the timeline box, you will note on the line here, it tells you you're right now inside it. And then the timeline box looks quite different from other boxes. So we have a motion tab here. There are some buttons on it. The most important button is, I think, the timeline properties box. If we click it, it shows us that by default, the timeline box will process at a speed of 25 frames rate. That means it'll go 25 frames per second, and you can change this number as you want to. But it basically means if you want the movements to become more quick, then you have to change the number bigger than 25. If you want the robot to move slower, then you can change the number less than 25. Okay. I think for our purpose today, the simple dabbing movement, the default frame rate looks good to us. Right? So, let's move the cursor, the live cursor on frame 25. That means when the box starts up, at the end of the first second, it'll do something. So let's for the dabbing dance, let's move the arms first. Here's a check. You just click on the arm you want to change on the robot view panel. And then let's move it, okay? Now, you probably don't know, what each of these sliding things will do, but I welcome you to explore. So this one will make the hands open up. We'll lower it down. And this looks good. Okay, I need to go near. No. Like that. Lower a bit. Okay, if I'm satisfied with it, here I can right click onto the purple line, and there's an option, Store Joints in Keyframe. So, in this case, I only want to store the keyframe for the arms. So I just say, Store the arms. Now, at the end of the second, I would like the left arm of the robot to raise up as well. So, I think we need the hands open all the way, arms up. reach out beautifully. And then this, no, I want it to be flat, and I can just, you can drag the robot to make it bigger or smaller on the robot view beautifully. So you can see I probably should make the arm, make the hand pointing like that. Nice. So I think we almost have the dubbing dance there now. So again, right click on the purple line and store joints. I'll say arms again, and then at 75, frame 75, I want to move the head as well. Let the robot head down a bit. And then again, right click on it, store joint. This time I'll store the head. I didn't store the movement for the whole body for a point, because if we just store the specific things we changed on the robot, then no matter when the robot started as a standing pose or a sitting pose, it'll be able to do the changes we wanted to do. And at 79, I wanted to keep the pose for 1 more second, and then here maybe 2 seconds. So let's move on to 115. Okay, move the cursor to 115, and then I'll say set end frame here. Right click on it and then set the end frame here. Alright, now let's taste the movement. So let's go to, I would like you first to switch to the pose library panel. Under basics, there's some standing poses. I want you to double click on one of them. Okay, so the robot will be back to the standing pose. Now to testing just the motions, we don't need to actually to load the application onto the robot. We can just do the play button on the motion tab here. So let's click on the play button. Okay, and you will see as the robot is moving its hand, it has started to looking down, and the other arms start to rising up. Looks good to me. The robot didn't fall down, so that's a good sign that our poses are fine. Okay, now if I want to make this a little bit fancy, underneath motion there's the behavior layers, and you can rename this. So I can rename behavior layer 1 to say, and then here if you double click, let me do it again. If you double click on keyframe 1 to say, we can change it to say wow. Okay, in the work area, we can add a say box to it. So let's have a say box. Again, it'll be, let's first set language, and then let's drag in a say box. So it'll be very similar to the, in episode 1, I think, we had the introduction about how to make a say box. It's pretty much the same thing. Set language, by default it's in English, so we're good. Double click into the say box, and then select English, and we can see, wow, good job. Okay, now here on the top it shows us we are inside timeline, inside the say box. So let's go back to timeline. Now I would like you to have the dialog button open, and then we go back to the root, and then we connect the application. Now let's test run it. Okay, before test run we have to go to the pose. Let the robot go back to the standing pose again. Alright, and I'll run it. And you see the robot had the say box, but oops, something happened. The left arm didn't have enough time to raise up. So let's do some change to the timeline box. Okay, Alright, so here we had save, but we actually don't want to, after robot is done saying the wow, good job thing, we don't want it to just end the application, right? So let's delete that. And that'll fix the issue. Let's go back to root and pose library, double click on one of them again. Oh, let me double click on something differently so that it'll bend its knees a little bit. Let's test run it again. Yay! So this time, as you can see, it has enough time to finish all the poses. Nice. For the virtual robot, you cannot actually play music, but I will tell you a trick. If you want to, in case you have a real robot to play with, then you can also add some sound effect to this. And the way to do it is you can add another layer. So let's go back to the box library. Let's add a new layer called music, and then double click on the music frame, and we will be able to add a box called play sound. Okay. Now play sound has effect. You can select which sound you want to play with. Of course, you have to first save a sound inside this box, and then you can decide to play it in loop or not. Right? So let's just have a play sound box embedded here. Once we integrate this new dance box with the guessing number game, I will show you how to add a local play sound in that project. Okay, I think the box is there, and we can actually right click on it, edit box. I'll name it dabbing. Alright, you can also change the image if you want to, but I think this looks fine to me. Okay, and then say OK. Now, the next trick is about how to save your customized box inside a box library. Okay, if you notice there's a new box library inside the box library panel, we click on that. And then you can just drag this dabbing box over to the new box library, and then you can also save it. Okay, so I'm going to save it inside the box library, and I'm going to call it customize. I already have a customized box created, so I'll just call it customization and then save it. Alright, so now let's close it off for now. And I don't want to save this project because we already saved the box in the box library. That's all we want. So I will just close the project. Don't save. Okay, congratulations, we just learned how to make the robot dance. I think you get the idea. Next, we're going to integrate the dabbing dance box to the previous guessing number application. So let's open that from episode 4. And my episode 4 application might look a little bit different from yours because I adjusted it according to the exercises I left at the end of episode 4. But don't worry about it too much. If you're using the standard version, it'll work just fine. And if you want to get a new version, I've uploaded this episode 5 application to GitHub as well, so you can download it there. Alright. Here's the episode 4 application. Let's delete this line so when the users write, it doesn't just go to the end of the application, it'll do a dabbing dance. Now at the box library, let's open box library. And the whole point here is of course to find the customization box we just made. And we want to drag it in. And voila, here's our dabbing box. And as I mentioned in the Debian Dance box, we just changed the movement of head and arms. We didn't do any movements for the legs, and I leave it that way for purpose. So if originally we want a robot at the starting of the application, we let the robot sit, then it will still do the Debian pose for us while the robot is sitting. So I'll show you how that works. Go to the search box of the box library, and then search for go to posture. Drag one in here. So at the very beginning, when the application first started, we set a language for the robot. And next, let's remove these lines. Once it sets the language, I want it to go to a posture. So by default, it'll ask the robot to stand up, but we can change it to sit. Once it's done, go to pose. I want it to move on to the next step with the application. Okay, so no matter what the box is, the set languages connect to, and now the go to posture box will connect to them, and then we can edit the go to posture and change the name to sit because the robot is going to sit down with this sitting. Once the user wins, it'll go to the Debian Dance box, and after Debian Dance box, I want the robot to go back to the sitting. So I just copy another sit box here, and then connect to the Debian box, and then when the robot successfully sit down, we will end the application. Or if it's not, maybe we should end it. Oh, I connect the wrong line. Sorry about that. The successful line should connect to the next step. If the robot failed to sit, then we should end the whole application right there. Alright, looks good to me. Let's do some change. So let's save the project as episode 5, and then in the project content panel, great, let's make sure the title and then the application ID is all correct. Looks good to me. Let's click to the, not the box library, but the dialog panel. Okay, and then we click on the upload the application to robot to test run it. Okay. We can see the robot is trying to sit down. You can drag drop the robot to view it. Okay, so the robot says it has a number 0 to 10. You have 3 chances to guess number. Alright, I'll say 6. It says 6 is too small. We have 2 chances. Next, I'll say 8. 8 is still too small. Okay, last chance, 9 or 10. Let's say 9. 9 is too small. Uh-oh, we lose. But doesn't matter, let's just run the game again. I'm a lousy game player, I have to tell you. Okay. 3 chances. First one, I'll say the same. It's too big this time. The next one, I can say 3. Whoa, I got lucky this time. 3 is the right answer, and it says good job, and it do the Debian Dance pose. Okay, and then it'll go back to the sitting pose. Yeah, it all worked as we expected it to do. The last thing I want to show you is in the Debian Dance, we have 2 behavior layers, the music layer. So here we click on it. We need to find a file that's inside. Right now we don't have any file in the project content, so let's cancel it out. Go to project, and go to root of the and then project, and here I can upload a file. I think I have some files saved here, and I'll search for success.wave file. Episode 5. So I can just save the file there, And if I want to be specific, I can also save it under inside the behavior 1. Alright. Now, as you can see, it comes up here. And then, if we go back here, play sound, go inside behavior, there's a success wave. Okay. Save it. In case you have a real robot, then that's a way how you can add additional sound effect to your robot while it's dancing or it's making some movement. Okay. Alright, that's for today's tutorial, so I'll just save the project and end it now.